Hey guys, so today we will be making a delicious glazed cinnamon roll. If this makes you hungry, then keep on watching. So here are all the ingredients that we will need for this recipe, so let's go over them and we can get started. So right here I have bread flour and all-purpose flour, and right here we have active dry yeast here, sugar, just an empty little thing here, there's nothing in here, butter, and it's in room temperature. I have maple syrup and an egg here, and I have milk also. And we want to activate our yeast, so we want our milk temperature to be around 100 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's really handy if you have a thermometer, but if you don't, just touch it and it's like about warmish. You don't want it to be too cold nor too hot. So right now, let's get started. As always, the recipe's ingredient amount will be in the bottom bar below. I have all the milk here, and it's warmed already. But we want to take about 20 to 30 grams of the milk to a separate container, and I will talk about how to use it later. Just 20 to 30 grams. You don't have to put a lot. That's about it. I just eyeball it. And then I'm gonna pour all the yeast into the milk, which is warm, and we're gonna activate the yeast. Just give it a good stir, fairly good stir, until all the yeast is in the milk. And we just want to let it sit at room temperature for about 5 minutes until it's all bubbly and nice and frothy. And then we know that our yeast is already activated and ready to go, and we can make our cinnamon rolls. And then to activate the yeast, you just want to cover it with a plastic wrap and just let it sit. And I'll show you how it looks like once it's activated. So once it's bubbly and frothy, we will pour in our activated milk and yeast into our mixer. Basically, we're adding everything into the bowl except for the butter. You can mix this by hand if you wish to, but I'm just using a mixer right now because it's easier and faster. Just mix the mixture under the low speed until everything has combined. You will slowly see that the flour will slowly cling off the side of the bowl, and the bowl will be clean like this. So when the side of the bowl are semi-flour free, we will add in the reserved milk that we saved at first. Remember that milk that I was going to tell you what to do with? So we're going to add half of the milk into our dough and just mix that in. And after the first portion of milk has been absorbed by the dough, we're going to add in the second portion. I found that this method makes the dough a lot more chewier after it's been baked and a lot more tastier. So after all of the reserved milk has been absorbed by the dough, you can see that the dough is super soft and non-stick at all. It doesn't stick to my hand or anything, but like it feels so good to feel fresh made dough. You gotta try it or else you won't know what I'm talking about. And then just add in that good old room temperature butter, my favorite. And just let it mix until all the butter has been incorporated. You know when it's done, it's that when there's no more butter clinging on the side of the bowl and the dough is super soft and fun to touch. I love cooking fresh made dough. And then you want to grab a container and just quickly, lightly oil it. And put your finished dough into the oiled bowl. You want to pull the side of the dough and tug it on the bottom and just pinch the end. So you want to proof the dough in a warm place for about an hour to an hour and 10 minutes, or until it has doubled in size. And make sure to cover the dough with a plastic wrap or a wet towel. I just prefer using plastic wrap and some aluminum foil to keep it insulated, and I like to keep everything in the oven just with the lights turned on and just let that thing poof. So while the bread is poofing, let's make the sugar mix. So the recipe I'm giving you here today is basically just 3 teaspoons of sugar and a teaspoon of cinnamon and just a dash of salt. You can mix the sugar mix in your own blend, whatever, it's fine, or you can just put it into all brown sugar, all granulated sugar. I'm just doing half and half of brown and white sugar here. You can also put any sorts of nuts here to your preferences, but I just prefer it to be the good old sugar mix. So I let my bread poof about an hour and 10 minutes or so, and it totally doubled in size, and this is like the thing that you're looking for. And look, I did the test and it didn't come back up, so I know that my bread is good to go. So I'm gonna pull it off from the bowl and just lightly dust the table with a little bit of bread flour and just put my bread onto a working surface, and I'm gonna punch all the air bubbles out. So just lightly press it down until it kind of flattens, and I'm gonna cover the dough with a plastic wrap and let it sit for about 15 minutes or so, and then we will continue. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna butter my pan. And so after 15 minutes of resting, sprinkle the dough with just a tiniest bit of flour on both sides, and use a rolling pin and roll the dough to about 1/4 of an inch thick. After you roll the dough into a long rectangle, and just sprinkle all of the sugar mixture that we had just made, and just tightly roll the dough into a log. Just like this, pinch the ends and push it over. So after you have rolled to the end, just make sure to seal the ends nicely and tightly, because you don't want any of the sugar to burst out while you are baking it. After the cinnamon log has been made, I'm just gonna cut the log into 3 semi-even logs and cut that miniature log into another 3 small little rows. So we will have 9 cinnamon rolls in total. And just put the cinnamon rolls into the buttered pan, cover the pan with plastic wrap and aluminum foil, and just let it ferment in the oven for about an hour or so. So about an hour later, the cinnamon rolls should be doubled in size, and you should have your oven preheated to 170 Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit, just about there. And just lightly brush the cinnamon rolls with a little bit of egg wash, and then just bake them in a preheated oven for about 18 to 20 minutes, or until the top is golden brown. This is totally optional. If you want, you can just sprinkle a little bit of brown sugar on top. And here are the cinnamon rolls after 20 minutes or so. And we're just going to make the glaze while the cinnamon rolls are resting. Just combine the powdered sugar with the water and just mix it until it becomes a smooth paste. And you can add a drop or 2 of vanilla extract. This is totally optional. I just like the flavor of vanilla. So after 15 minutes or so, the bread is now ready to be glazed. You can just put it on with a spoon, or you can just put the glaze into a piping bag, and then we can just pipe it on, and here it is. So I couldn't resist and took a piece out of that 9-piece cinnamon roll and took a bite. If you like the old-fashioned cinnamon bread and chewy bread, this is the recipe for you, and you have to go try it out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys very soon.